Hello. Welcome. Let me turn this down just a smidgen. There we go. Hello. Welcome. We're back to the crazy adventures of Lucy the detective. Lawyer? Detective. Sure. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. Ooh. How are you today? Episode 2. Ooh. We continue the plot.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath.
Oh, I'm sorry you're tired.
There came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness.
Sholmes?
"You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air.
What?
I raised my dark lantern shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's
Sholmes.
most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson.
I hate it.
In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
I'm gonna fucking throw a riot if it's like Herlock Sholmes or some shit. Oh fuck. 9th of January 1967. Game can come up a bit.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle.
I'm gonna throw a fit. I'm gonna riot.
So the victim was a Russian man then, and the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality.
What is this steampunk shit?
This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident by the victim himself, I would venture.
What?
What have we here?
What the fuck is this?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. And in cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Herlock Sholmes.
I'm gonna vomit.
You must have heard of me.
I'm gonna vomit. I'm gonna riot. I'm gonna scream. I hate it here. I'm gonna quit this game. I'm 0 out of 10. My head is throbbing. What's going on? Something is not right here. There's trouble in the air. Are we in the fucking lock cabinet? Son of a bitch. Wait. I can't move. What the? Why am I in handcuffs? So, you wake up now, We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. Son of a bitch. How are we always framed for murder? I do not believe how you would not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You found me then. Da, we found you. And now you pay. Criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, sorry. Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato. Wait. What'd you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Oh no. Was Kazuma murdered? Ha! You pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in the sheep's pelt. You are the killer! Do not try to make excuses. What? No, Kazuma. Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. No, Kazuma. Here, in this very cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think I... Okay, now we can quit the game? Alright, understood. Hello, Kyler. Welcome. Oh, handcuffs, huh? Yeah, we were just framed for murdering our best friend. I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please! No. No! Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Ha 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 ha. Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor? I thought I was going to die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. Fucked up. Yeah, he has anime protag syndrome, so his ribbons are always flapping in the non-existent wind. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey! Honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. He better not be dead. I'm going to legitimately quit this game if he's actually dead. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. I'm coping so hard. I mean, the OG killed your boss right away? I mean, that's fair. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about that time the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to the hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what, why don't you write "keep out" or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not the murderer. Duh, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san? Please? Tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Ugh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. About the incident. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you knew the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say. You were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but he would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. Right, that sounds like him. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside... No! There was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too. Trust me. He's actually dead. No! Kazuma! Yes, Kyler. What would you like to say? Oh, thank you for the extra. I so greatly appreciate that one. Alright. Ugh. Oh, this is what you wanted. God. Like how you can hear your water bottle even on stream. The very noise Snack hates. He says it sounds like a hamster water bottle. I'm glad everyone came in for me belching. Glad that was the highlight today. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream? Snip, snip, snip. And these handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from the outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside the cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? He's hiding in the trunk! This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? I figured you were here since he started. Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. Fucking course he doesn't. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then? That's true, yes. Now I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yeah, alright. My head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Last night. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in the cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed. Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me, I didn't do it! I really don't want to doubt you, but the trouble is, there is no one else who could possibly have done this. Why are you even on board the ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes, I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No. That would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I am afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Neither do we. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. When a homie says, yo, let's go to England, you don't ask questions. True. I think I told you then, didn't I, that you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that, but I don't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Nobody willingly goes to England? Damn. Homeboy knew he was gonna die and dragged you along to find the truth. Probably. I feel like the person's just hiding in the trunk like we did for the stowaway when he brought us on. This is probably someone just chilling in that trunk be like, fuck, 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 I'm gonna be found out, I'm gonna be found out, I'm gonna be found out, fuck. Kazuma-sama is... he was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yeah, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san, I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expected he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. Rip, homeboy. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Ugh. I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hi-ya! That's the 12th time they show their hands. What the? That was a Susato takedown. Susato what? What martial art form is that? Damn, bitch. I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you achieved in just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. This is the paper seal I wrote for the wardrobe. I remember really working hard to make it. I'll never forget how Cosmo reacted. Do you expect the Russian crew to be able to read that, he said? Still, I was sure people would get the idea, even if they couldn't read it. So I used it anyway. And it worked! I don't know if the crew thought it was creepy or what, but no one opened the doors. Can we flip it? You can see the remnants of the glue used to stick this over the wardrobe doors. Although it wasn't proper glue, of course. We didn't have any of that with us. So I pulverized some rice into paste to use instead. But to a stowaway like me, every single grain of rice represents precious rations. That's why I spread it as thinly as I possibly could. I couldn't bear to waste any. Okay. So we have that. Symbol of Yuma University. Every student wears this pin with pride. It's funny, but most emblems seem to be either round or rectangular. I like the spike design, even though it doesn't really make any sense. Although it does cause problems. Lots of students end up cutting their fingers on their badges. Oh my god. My man was rationing food on this boat to England. Oh, he's a stowaway! Perhaps it was the idea of one of the founders, a sharp pin for a sharp mind or something. Can we flip it? My personal student number is engraved on the back here. If you lose your pin, they won't accept you as a UMA student at the university. You may not come in. Wow. They say. Of course, you can get a new pin made if you just tell them your number. I actually lost mine twice already, but I still don't know my student number by heart. I always say to myself, I mustn't forget to write it down somewhere. But then I forget to not forget that. What a champ you are. Is that just for the backing? Oh, no. Okay, well we have that.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Cosmo always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to take a look inside. So, naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah! Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san? Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Why are we upside down? We're on our way to England. Also, she flipped us because we tried to escape. Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least. Thank you! So you finally believe me. I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. Ma'am? What sort of bullshit? What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I don't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Bitch, huh? Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. Examine. I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. I was waiting for that. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? Neither? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure, either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. She knows! Scatter! Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused. I forget to look around properly. Ah. Yeah, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? Okay. I'm sure you're careful to look around using the B and M? The game is in 3D, Lucy. Do you understand? I get it. I know it's in 3D, but why B and M for the keys? Why not just use the arrow keys? Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. So stupid. Alright, his shit's on the floor here. That's Cosmo-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Oh, look, a dangerous object. Yes, he's always saying that Japanese man's katana is a soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring this on a trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Food? So what the fuck is that? That's my dinner from last night? A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog. I ate it on the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Cosmo-sama didn't like the chicken at all, did he? No, that's right, so he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always has a reflection of his heart. Yet you... Can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can! I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship? Damn, she got us there. Now we're gonna bring that up, aren't you? I can't win. Man, fuck you. Okay, what is this weird pink thing? A bell? Or a glass? What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. No, you can't win. That's the point of the game. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him. Would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? Is a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It is the color of a brick, isn't it? even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Why didn't it mark it done for his sword, though? Oh, okay, it just marks what was the most recently done. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god on the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mowed down at once. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-san was doing this morning. Doing his morning sword training? I seriously doubt that. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Can the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see it a mess. But that's messing with the crime scene! That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on the vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. A hidden wall, maybe. Oh yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese, which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewman would be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. Mr. Kitty be yelling. Ink? Oh, no. Nope. Okay. No, it's not letting us recheck it. Alright, well, let's look at this marking. Did Kazuma write that before he died? Feed me, mother. I am starving. I have a food bowl full, but desire treats. No, he just screams. He just does that. Looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma. No doubt he is in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I don't know why I'm looking for, like, numbers in this. 'Cause I know it's Russian. Ah, yes, it reads Poggers Champion. Oh, I didn't know you knew Russian. Impressive. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? Russian? Pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Can we ask you? Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me? What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes. But it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking the investigator for information about this crime? Very funny. Oh. It wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. He might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, Did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Nyet. Of course not. Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. Alright, we'll come back to you. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma, he didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means... what? He was in the middle of writing about the... He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened. Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hi-ya! God damn it. That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Lame. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? This is where we stowed away. It's some 2 weeks since we sailed from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting making this voyage on your own secret hideout. The trouble was I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So, yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No. Sadly not. This bed. This thingy. This is... yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes. In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. Damn. How many weeks on this boat and he was meant to stay in a wardrobe? Yeah, because it was like a 70-day travel. So he would have been in there for like 2 months in the wardrobe, and we were only there for 2 weeks. Seeing if there's any like random other shit. We got that. Anything else? We got that. Converse. Nope. Oop, sorry, wrong button. Move? I'm in handcuffs and under house arrest by the crew, not to mention Susato-san's constant glares. I think it's fair to say I'm stuck in this cabin, for the time being at least. I should focus on investigating in here to see what I can find out. Okay, let's go back to examine. You had something to say. Oh, I also missed the door. When I went for help, and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, not particularly sturdy. It just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, There would have been no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? And an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Okay, so we got that. You said something, and you sounded apprehensive. Somebody here is sus. Did you get what looks like a vent on the top far left? Yes, I did not. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough. Or something like that? I suppose. Maybe that's it. What? Oh. Excuse me? Sir? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, haven't you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but you look suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. Doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk? Or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they've in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Sir? Excuse me. Excuse me? Do you have a moment? Shh. This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone? He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Oh my god. Greetings. I hope I didn't startle you. Ah! What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? It feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry. What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary. Oh, he's the full of shit type. Oh. You have 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower? Huh? And when the bare ribbon occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution too. It's shameful behavior, Naruto-san. Absolutely wicked. No. Listen, there's no way Hi-ya! I hate it here. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. He bullshit. He sure is. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary. Obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came to your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it, do you see? What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. Mew, buckle up for this man's name, because I'm going to riot. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women all over the world. The inimitable Herlock Sholmes. If I yell loud enough, I'll be right loud amount of times. I'm gonna vomit. So, it's really you? The actual Herlock Sholmes? The very same. The inimitable actual Herlock Sholmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san? Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out in the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Alright, my guy. Great detective, my ass. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it? No, I have no her. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Sholmes. I will not call you Sholmes. You can read about all my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rant's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Ah, yes, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then. Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you start to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backwards. Backward? So good or unusual as to be impossible to copy, unique. Oh. Fair. I'll call you an ambulance to get your fucking facts checked. My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in a magazine. You have a biographer. Really? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson. Presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of the cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Mama has found kitties in lobby. You get pistachio and ube. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in a subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture, fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a truth. I have a turn both for observation and for deduction and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes. I'm gonna vomit. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in the most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now. Fuck you. Ah, I see. In other words, I am in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Cosmo-sama this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Nothing grinds my gears more than fake smart people. Same. But also, now I'm suspicious that he murdered him. Because he snuck in with the crew. He could have been hiding in here. Yes. Luckily for everyone, the great detective was on board. And the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, 2 facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh, really? 2 facts, you say? Oh, okay. I agree, he was my first guess. Yeah. Mr. Sholmes, tell us, please. What 2 facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. The 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand. But what were they? Allow me to elucidate, excuse me. Reason being that the stories are fake and he makes crimes. But that's my theory. I mean, that's fair. That's valid. The 2 facts that I deduced were a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, what made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. I don't know how to pronounce that, and I won't try. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Cosmo would have left a dying message in Russian? Does Cosmo know Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Cosmo was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered garderobe, maybe the name of a killer, a certain Robert Guard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided to be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least, where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so, I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze for possible hidden details. Aw, look at him sleeping so peacefully. Sato, you're home? This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Cosmo had already been taken away when I woke up. No! Kazuma! This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yeah. Thank you. Photograph was added to the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that... Damn, you can tell he's dead because his headband wasn't flowing. No. Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? I'm not gonna try and guess what that means. These people are all crazy. This shit would be instantly dramatic, right? Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Your deduction, please. Seeing a dead body in person isn't all the traumatizing as you think. Fair? Can we talk about your deduction before the things you concluded about me, I mean? If the dead body of your best friend, I think that would be traumatizing. The now famously accurate troubling predicament you find yourself in? Actually, it was the other details I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part? Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, yes, because I look like this Russian man, a high school or college age Japanese boy looks like this Russian man. Definitely. Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Cosmo a Russian? Sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded that he was Russian because of what Cosmo-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who killed the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you. Villain Bolshevik. No. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Shave the face. Instantly de-aged 15 years. Oh yes, we have super baby face. Definitely, for sure. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please. And, I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. He's got a point. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man. And printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters? I wonder. And what about the part where you said I was returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Oh right, because we're pre that time. Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thanks. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. He'd have a good argument against you if he wasn't just wrong all the time. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back? Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. Wait, so he claims that we're Russian, but he knows we can't read Russian? What? But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just a glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Huh? This doesn't make sense. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Susato. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, I believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what Susato takedown is. Susato-san? Aren't you gonna throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair? Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear that the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese? A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, Banzai, Mikado, Nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. Oh, I too know a smattering of Japanese. As does any anime fan would know a smattering of Japanese. But this diary is littered with complicated looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. Ah ha ha ha. So, what was all that showing off about before then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would happily read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill? Did he get fucking killed by a snake? A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard of that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to up there. To the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Cosmo's diary has been entered into the court record. Who the hell writes these things in a journal? Cosmos knew something we didn't, clearly. So I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writing in this diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist would reveal the answer. These. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said that to the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what, you're looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Fuck you. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what were you just standing there for? What? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can— Hiya! God damn it. After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in rolling the over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look too good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Cosmo to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman's standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir? I'm gonna vomit. I know exactly who it is. It's the fucking detective policeman from Japan. Yes, what can I help you with? I recognize that face, but it can't be. Dude, get your cough sorted out, please. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you. My heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Please wipe your mouth, sir. Alright, what do you got this time? So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. It's classified. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard? But why? It was Minister of Justice Jikogu who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Well, you certainly failed that job. Assassinated? How? How could that even be a possibility? I'm not sure, but these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? How in what world is this a genuine concern? Right, like what? Obviously we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here inside his own cabin. Not here on the first class deck. First class, that's surprising actually. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector... So if there's anything at all I can help to do now, just say the word. Can you free me? Can you unlock the handcuffs? We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not! We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you moved to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman over there surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd leave my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that could give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes, I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with an evidence that he needs to persuade the captain. Susato, again, what are you talking about? Okay. Alright, I'm going to assume it's gonna... I can't flip this around, can I? No. Do you want to look at this real fast? Oh. Yeah, it's in Russian. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I, but look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. What? You're still here? Ah, I'm glad you noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. Pops up everywhere, this Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It appeared the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles? God damn. All the select and spacebar, you're crazy. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. No way she becomes relevant. Oh my, bet. She will become relevant to this case, I swear. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet, and it seems the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruto. Okay, the article's been updated. It's worth $274. Present day, 20,269.91 USD. Awesome. So that's a good chunk of change, you know. And then, yeah, we had nothing for that. This. Present? No, it won't let me present it. Okay. Present, okay. Duh. What's that? I guess different converters give different results. It's also older. That's why I preference present day. That's fair. It's Cosmo's diary. Just before he died, Cosmo-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some kind of spectacled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right, so if we can investigate there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move, and we can leave the cabin at last. I can get out of here. Move. Oh, ooh. We can go other places. Ooh. She's not right in the head. No, she's not. January 9th, 7:48 a.m. God, it's fucking early in the morning. SS Burya, first class cabin passageway. Oh, I'm finally out of the cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. This is the most luxurious accommodation. January 9th, what year? I don't know. Don't yell at me. Yes, indeed. Cosmo-san was being sent on his study tour by the government. That's why he was being put in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as any accommodation in the steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. There's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he is sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs. I'm trying to find out what 20,000 rubles in present-day money. Oh god, I don't... You know what? We can kind of solve this. 1 second. Where... Google, hello. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Time... I can't type time. Period. Taking place near the end of the 19th century and the dawn of the 20th century, known in Japan as the Meiji period, in Britain as the Victorian era, the Great Ace Attorney focuses on Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a student, blah 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 blah. There's your answer. Late 19th to early 20th century. It's a lot more recent than I thought. Surprisingly, yes. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. You've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Cosmo's trunk when I first came aboard, and ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Alright. What do we got here? This looks like a plan of the SS Burya. It shows each deck. Look. The Burya is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? It's also the same question of why airplanes can fly, because they're giant hunks of metal too. Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they're enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than the ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. Yes, please. I know aerodynamics is for airplanes, clearly. There's a huge book on top of the table there. There's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. Huh. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. What's up, my guy? Airplanes float differently than boats do. I would assume, yes. Boats don't fly. Excuse me, but you have stripes on your face, my guy. Like diagonal stripes. Can I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I am so sorry to trouble you, but can I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid. Oh my god. Oh. We seem to have caught a sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I'm not a sailor. My mother gave me a name. I am Senior Crewman Biff Stroganoff. His name's Beef Stroganoff. Oh. The best thing is to avoid eye contact, I think. Alright, what do you got? Mr. Stroganoff? About the first-class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of Buria steamship. For very important persons. What sort of important persons? Government officials, kings and queens of traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean. But Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you? If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? Da? Susato-san? Did you understand that? It sounded like da. Alright, I've learned one word of Russian and how to write it. I think it's Russian for yes. Or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Who's there? Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimesby Roylet. He is a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman. Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylet is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Why is everyone so blatantly racist and Japanese? Holy shit. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylet came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Cosmo cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. Alright. Are you on watch here all the time? Seaman Stroganoff? Da. All time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us about the last night at all? Guess people were more unhinged with their racial remarks in what I'm assuming is the early 40s and 50s. Yeah? It is sad about Student Boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Yet? Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said, no! Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes. Alright. Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape? You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain. Or as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate the area properly, shall we? Definitely. Back to examining. Okay, we got that. We got this. Did we not just... We read through this, did we not? Crazy and precise, blah blah blah. Lobster whistling. Oh yeah, Cosmo noted that he heard a whistling noise at 1:20 something in the morning. Okay, so we got that, we got that. I also missed what half of that was. So he went path. Nothing to report, okay. There is a bell. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh. This I have to see. What are you doing, Naruto-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at the handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm's for. If you were bringing this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop. The ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. No promises. And this is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in the cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Ah! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside! Where the fuck did you come from? I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes! I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch a muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. 9th January, SS Buria, first class, cabin number 2. Oh shit. Who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True. This old man does appear to be the only person here. But in that case, who just screamed? It's him! It is him. Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but... Dear Mr. Grimsby Roylet, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are? I am the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. You've heard of me, right? Not at all. It's him, the Russian revolutionary. I'm the great detective among great detectives. Blah, 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 blah. Fuck you. The man uses the magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid. How can anyone fit in this trunk like that? Or, I don't know, the giant duffel bag in the corner? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh. Oh shit. Oh my, did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes? The case just shook. Leave. Now. Otherwise, I'll call the steward. So this is Cosmo's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylet. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before the burly sailor returns. Why? Why are you there? His just knocked over too. What do you think you're doing? Ah! This is my cabin. Get out. Can we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No! What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get us somewhere with Mr. Roylet. Okay, so it just won't let us. Okay, thank you. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh! And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no. Actually, you're spot on for once. Observe closely. Why do you have scissors? And our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylet, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Vodka? Why, the truth, of course. Oh, sorry. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the her arm's glitching. like a little triangle piece that's just flickering on her arm. Right. Can you imagine how the Russians would react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Because the game is 3D! Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please! They're really trying to get the point across. They really are. Well then, what are you about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. I'm gonna murder this man. Alright, what do we got? Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you. Or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes? I know this man's beard is dark. Beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shh. I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. Hmm? There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn, you are, at the very moment, no less in the midst of committing the most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize that you have been discovered. Does it not? Ah! Oh, Naruhodo-san. I never imagined I had witnessed one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction? Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What an ineffable twaddle. Oh yes, I've read about all the countless times in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of this great deduction firsthand. It is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color has drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right? How could I possibly know such things? You wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Thank you for the water. Ah yes, the amazing character I read about in propaganda. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Old man's identity. So, the dubious-looking Russian Mr. Roylott. Obviously, what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. There's also newspaper stuffed in your pocket. Why? Why y'all gotta make me drink so much? now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you support. Now, moving on. The question then begs this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. You have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. He's right for the wrong reasons. I hate it. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. He also has like a long fucking face. This dude's face is more rounded. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. Why do I feel like it's the ballerina that's in disguise? You're the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Violent Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Conclusion, a revolutionary on the run. Topic 2. Wrongdoing. God, I didn't even think of that. Now as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. This game would pull some donkey shit like that. I mean, after the goose head, I'm expecting everything left and right. And I assure you that I speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? A snake? A pet? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, one slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me. We are not well suited for a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'etat betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found on the pages of this newspaper. For there is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeting revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Conclusion. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elemensky. This is This is so ridiculous. Can I pause? Okay, we're gonna save that here. And, we're gonna send this off, because this is getting too stupid for my likings currently. It will be a cliffhanger for next week. But, for now, I hope you all enjoyed. Game time over, time to D&D. The game does get goofy with it. It sure does. Anyway, who shall we raid? Ridiculous in my Ace Attorney game?
Game time over, time to did.
Unheard of. Thank you, Bartholomew. Alright, does anyone have any suggestions to send this off to? Otherwise, I just won't do raid. Nope. My list of people's clean. Fair. My list is, also pretty clean. Unfortunate. But, let's see. Go back here. We will go back to the title. Save. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the applaud. Thank you. Oh, it changed to match what we're currently doing. Very nice. Alright, well, I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hope you all... It's a little bit late, so I hope you all have a good meal soon. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.